Today we're going to fix the final problems with the Fahrenheit. And no, I'm not talking about the few actual problems that still need fixed with the car. In proper Mark V owner fashion, we're going to do what really needs to be done to this car, and that is put some coilovers on it and put some wheels on it, rather than actually fixing the things that should be fixed to get this car finished. So here we have a set of RAV9 coilovers, as well as shortened sway bar links. They have front rear adjustable collars, adjustable dampening on the tops, camber plates, and then for the rear we've got the adjustable perches and the springs. Then we also have a set of 18-inch 5x112 wheels off of My Fahrenheit GLI with some Venice S1 hand-cooked tires on them with pretty decent tread. So we're going to be taking care of that problem and this problem, and also these wheels that don't look that great. Now, obviously, we are actually going to fix the real problems that still need eliminated with this car. There are not many, just a few, but of course, we got to get it looking good before we do that in proper Mark V owner fashion. So with that, we're going to get right into the install here. So I'm going to jack the front up first, and we're going to do the front first because honestly, I hate doing the front the most. It's the most difficult. The rear is way easier. So we're going to get the front out of the way first. So I'm going to jack it up and get the cowl removed and everything, and then we'll go ahead with installing the coilovers. All right, so I got the front end up, got the wheels off, got the cowl out. Now I had to pull the cowl out because you have these bolts here, 1, 2, 3, 13 millimeters on both sides, and that's what holds the top strut bushing and stuff up and holds the strut up, so we have to do that. Also, it is currently about 2:20, so I would like to get this done and be able to take some videos for you guys before it gets dark. It gets dark around here at like 5 o'clock, so we're kind of on a time crunch with this, but I'm hoping to have all this suspension done and get this car outside and take some videos of the driving of this car and also the outside of this car. So we're going to try to get through this as fast as possible. So I'm going to go ahead at this point, and we're going to get started with putting the front suspension on. All right, so I already went ahead and removed this small piece of the side fender liner so that we can access this, because we're going to pull the sway bar link first. Now these are a pain usually. This one is no exception. So basically these bushings will spin and you can't get the bolt out, so you got to use one of these. Go on the back side of the sway bar like this, and then just clamp down on the bushing inside it, and it kind of holds the shaft of it together, and then you can pull it out. Sometimes it spins a little bit and you have to clamp down on it harder, like that. Go ahead just like that. Now the upper one, I'm not too worried about that one because we're going to pull this whole strut anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So after that, now we're going to have to go ahead and pull the axle bolt and the ball joint bolts, because you're going to want to do that so that we can lower this down and be able to actually get this strut out. Alright, so now I've got that bolt removed. I have a chisel and a hammer, and what we're going to do with the chisel is we're going to hammer it in between where this bolt compresses this spindle around the strut. We're going to put that in between there, and then it might be a little tricky, but I'm going to hammer this down in the wedge in between that. Alright, so that would have been 7 minutes of me pounding on this thing, so I just went and did it off camera. But basically, the chisel and the hammer worked for a little bit. That didn't work. I do have one of these, which is a strut spreader tool. As you can see, I've twisted it before, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Today was luckily a day that it worked, so that was good. Got this done, so now basically this is loose. All we got to do now is take the 3 13 millimeters off the top, and then we'll be able to remove the strut. So, got 13 millimeter on the impact. We're going to go ahead and pull these out. There we go. Just like that. There is our factory spring. It's in good condition overall. These are actually a little bit lower than regular Jetta, because this is a GLI, so it's sport suspension, but either way, it's got to go. We need this thing to be lower. Alright, so here we have our new replacement. So basically what we're going to do is just pretty much the exact same thing. in reverse, but so I got to pull off these 3 nuts here. The other one actually uses 13mm bolts. This one uses nuts with these camber plates on the top. I'm also going to leave them set to where they are currently. I will see what happens. I'm also leaving this set at the same height. We'll see what happens. That car is pretty low, so we'll see, but just going to give it a shot. So basically, just going to line it up here and then thread these on by hand. Tighten them down. So the overall body of these coilovers is much smaller than the stock one. So basically what we're going to do is put this up onto here. And then push the axle back into place. Put the ball joint bolts back in, or at least set the studs down in the control arm. And then, once I can get this in here, left with this. Now obviously, this is not where it was before. That's why we got this. We'll just go up underneath the spindle there and jack it up like so. And now we'll be able to guide it right up onto here. And then there's also going to be a little tab that kind of is an alignment pin, so you want to line that up as well. We're also going to want to use strut spreader tool here. Go ahead, open this up if I can, and that'll allow this to. So I went ahead and put this the rest of the way together, and you can already see how much further up this rotor and spindle assembly is from where it was before. This thing should be tucking pretty hard, so I'm really excited for how this looks. This is one of my, this whole deal, always working on cars. It's really fun for me. I really enjoy it. And lowering cars is one of my favorite things to do because you can make something look so good with just a simple set of suspension. But so this is looking super good. I'm super stoked on it. But the final thing we got to do, I already have everything together. We have to install the shortened sway bar link, so we're going to grab that. But basically, got this. We got to put this right there. Now we already have the other side set to where we want it to be, but we're accounting for the shortened amount from here to there. So these are already loose off the car. I took them off of. Why? I have no idea. But I'm going to have to go ahead and adjust this to where it's sitting so that the sway bar still functions properly and it doesn't bind on the axle or anything like that. So we go ahead and get this installed and then go from there. All right, so I adjusted the sway bar link to where I think it should be, but I'm almost certain that I'm wrong. So, because basically these springs have like zero travel, so I'm probably going to, I'm going to take the other side apart and then I'm going to try to set it where I think I should have it and then adjust it from there. So we'll see, but either way, that's going to be it on this front install. As you can see, it's sitting really much higher up than it was before. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side off camera since it's literally the same thing on the other side. All right, so the front end is all done. I'm not going to show it to you guys just yet, but I got the other side finished. Everything's back together and it's on the ground. So now we're going to move on to the rear of it. So I'm going to jack that up and show you how we do that. All right, so the rear end of the car is jacked up. And now you're going to see exactly why I wanted to do the rear last, because this is marginally easier than the front. So basically, got an 18mm right here. I apologize about the lighting. I need to do something about the lighting in the rear of the shop. But got an 18mm here. I'm going to loosen that. Not with this tool. Alright, so you see how it jerked there. So now this tension is released. So now basically all you do is take the jack, lower it down like that, and your spring comes out. Now this is the safest and most effective way to do this because this can get very dangerous if you don't use a jack. I'm also noticing, so this makes it that this job was 100% necessary because this has a broken spring in the rear. This is incredibly common with Mark 5, Mark 6 cars, but so this is broken, so basically that means that this whole suspension job was 100% necessary. It needed to be lowered to fix that. So, alright, so now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and remove the shock. So basically, the shock is held on up at the top by two 16 millimeters, and then down here by a 22 millimeter. All can be accessed with an impact. Alright, so you also got to remove these rubber bushings from the bottom and the top because the replacement ones have their own right there. So basically at this point, we're now going to go ahead and put the shock back on first. And the reason for that is because you can still access that bolt that holds the bottom of the shock on with the impact. Once you put the spring in, you can't. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. And then we'll go from there. So basically, once again, I do apologize for the lighting. I recognize it's not the easiest to see. I hope to have some type of a solution for that soon. Sure, perches right here. That goes on the bottom. Again, we're going to leave this all the same configuration it was before. So the perch goes on the bottom. Then we have the spring. And then finally, the upper bushing right there. As you can see, this is, again, a big difference in the length of the spring. So basically, big difference in the overall size of the spring. So this is going to sit up a lot higher, and as you can see here, this also makes it sit up much higher than it used to with the factory components. Jack this up until that lines up, and take the bolt right here, and take that, and then tap that in. So now, what we gotta do yet, go ahead and tighten this up. Alright, there we go. So that's tightened up, and believe it or not, this side is entirely finished already. So now I'm going to go ahead, get this wheel put back on, and then I'm going to do the other side off camera. Then we'll get this thing on the ground and then go take it outside and give you guys a look of it. Alright, so the coilovers are on. We're headed to the spot that I want to show you guys it. You can hear all the cinders. We're supposed to get snow here in PA tomorrow, and they're all over the road, so don't mind that. There's also one of the sway bar links isn't quite right, so that's what some of that popping noise is. But this car drives incredibly well overall. I mean, I'm very happy with it. You see the lights are on. It's just the headlight thing because the one front headlight is being goofy, and then the tire pressure monitoring is also on. But perfect. All right, go out for a little cruise in this thing, see what it can do. Now the lights that are on are the headlight out light because one of my headlights is being goofy. Sometimes it wants to work, and sometimes it doesn't, so we're gonna figure that out. And also the TPMS light, so that just needs to reset. All right, so we'll pull out of the parking lot here, and then we'll go and do a little bit of, all right, downshift a little bit, do a third gear here. I will say I am pleased with the performance of these coilovers overall. The one sway link is a little messed up, so that's the rattling noise, but overall they're not bad. They feel tight. The car actually drives very nice. Taking these corners, it definitely feels good. All right, once we crest this hill, I'll lay into it a little bit. Like I said, not bad performance for a bone stock 2-liter turbo FSI. I'm quite impressed with it. I mean, my other orange car runs really good, but this car isn't bad. Also, don't mind the hissing noise. It has an exhaust leak that I need to sort out. One of the other issues with it as of right now. Car is a good cruiser too. I really don't mind the Mark V platform. That's why I own the ones that I do. But this car really is fun to drive. As far as the performance of the suspension is concerned, like I said, this thing feels really stable. It feels very planted, and this thing still has stock sway bars, but it just really feels good. I'm very impressed with it overall. For the price point of these coilovers, it's definitely not too bad. Overall, I do enjoy driving this car. There you have it. This is going to be the final state of the Fahrenheit GLI. So, we have done a ton of work to this car throughout the process of this series. This is the biggest thing. I told you I'd fix this, taken care of. Now I got it all dirty from not driving it because we got salt all over the roads, but now I got it lowered, got some wheels on it that are not these. Also wanted to mention that when I took these rear springs out, both of them were broken. So it is actually a good thing that we put the suspension on because those were broken. I didn't know it. So yeah, the car is looking really good. As far as the interior goes, all cleaned up. New headliner. Everything's all taken care of, all good to go. And all in all, this car turned out really nice. It could still use a detail. Like to have it polished and buffed and everything. But all in all, it turned out really good. As far as under the hood here, we've got this all taken care of as well. Placed this motor. Obviously, you guys saw that previously. All this stuff taken care of. This thing has been performing really well for me. I put about 50 miles on it since I swapped the motor. Pretty much no problems that have developed, so other than existing since I put it together. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it on the whole Fahrenheit series. So there, just as a recap of what we did, first video did the full interior taken care of and got the headliner replaced and everything. Second video, we did the replacement motor, got that old one taken out, got the new one put in. I'll call it 2.5 because it doesn't really count, but I did tear the motor apart. I was doing it anyway, and I figured may as well put a video together for you guys if you wanted to watch that. So took the motor apart, and then final part here, part 3, got it lowered and got the new wheels on it, and this is how it sits now. In my opinion, this car looks really good. I really like it. I'm also a sucker for these Mark Vs, in my opinion, once you lower them and get some decent wheels on them, they look really good, and this car is no exception to that. So I am really impressed with how this car turned out. It is also fun to drive. There's still a couple of little things that need fixed, but the car is fun to drive and overall turned out to a really good car. Now, what is going to be the future of this car and what all needs done yet? Well, for starters, a couple of things that need finished yet. There's not a ton, but basically this headlight intermittently works. Sometimes the beam works, sometimes it doesn't. So that's the most major problem that it has right now. I don't know what's going on. I'm guessing it just needs a headlight or something is wrong inside with these xenon lights. Not really sure. But need a new headlight for the right side or need to repair that problem. Also, it has an exhaust leak where the two mid pipes join together, so I need to take care of that. It also has a clunk in the right front from the sway bar link that I messed up when I put it together. I messed up the threads on the thing, so I'm going to fix that. But that needs taken care of. And then also the TPMS needs reset and a couple more miscellaneous interior and exterior things and a good full top to bottom detail and clean and get it inspected. And that's pretty much going to be everything that this car needs yet. And at that point in time, now this brings what's going to happen with the future. This car is going to be for sale. So if you're interested in it, let me know. But basically this car is going to be for sale and it's going to go down the road to a new owner who can appreciate it. I really do enjoy this car, but I already have 2 Fahrenheits. I don't need 3. And so, but overall, super happy with how this car turned out. Really like it. And I'm just really stoked on the fact that everything went as good as it did. And yeah, so basically, that's going to be a wrap on this whole series. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed showing you guys this stuff that I do. I mean, I've been doing this stuff for years. It's not nothing new that I'm doing. It's just new that I'm sharing it with you guys. So let me know if you guys enjoyed the series of the build of this car or if you like the singular videos better. Either way. And let me know what you guys are looking to see in the future because I have access to so many cars. And that also brings me to something I wanted to mention. So thanks to Cole's German Auto, which is the business that my family owns. And that's where all these parts are coming from. That's where this car came from. That's where this car is going to be for sale. But also that's where the motor came from, the coilovers, the wheels, the headliner, all that stuff. And we have tons more of VW parts. We have so many, giant warehouse full of VW parts. So if you need VW parts also, let me know and I can probably set you up with them. But basically, that's why I can do what I do. But also, let me know what you guys want to see next. So like I said, I got a lot of access to a lot of different things. You guys just got to let me know what you want to see. And I try to make videos on what I think is interesting, but at the end of the day, I never really know. But either way, that's going to be a wrap on this video and this series. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.